Hi, folks. John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Meliorvia. I'm up here this afternoon at Immortals Inc. with Mikey.
What is going on, John?
Well, I was kind of poking around to see what books we might have that we haven't talked about yet. And I was going through stuff on the Cthulhu shelf, and I found a couple of books we surprisingly had somehow missed.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a couple by this company called New Comet Games. They've got a license from Chaosium to publish Cthulhu stuff. And the one I thought we'd talk about today is A Time for Sacrifice. This one is by Burns, Courtemanche, and Begelman. They both have a whole bunch, or all three of them rather, have a whole bunch of third-party Cthulhu credits. And they do have some other Call of Cthulhu stuff that this same company has put out, including Devil's Swamp, which is another book that we got on the shelf.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm not sure when Carlos picked these two up, but I didn't miss it. Or rather, I missed it when they arrived. So this guy came out with a 2019 Kickstarter, raised about $36,000, had 800 backers, and it released in 2020 right on time. It is for the 7th edition of Call of Cthulhu, and it's set in Central America, and there are 5 adventures in this book, all of which have a strong theme with Mayan runes. Familiar with ancient Mayan culture much?
A little bit. I remember the calendar thing that went on a while ago.
2012 was when the world was supposed to end, right?
Yeah,
that was kind of cool. They had a lot of knowledge about astronomy.
Yeah, they did.
And Chichen Itza, if you go there on not on the solstice, but the ones in the spring and the fall, the equinox, you can see some really cool shadow play on the pyramids. Like the pyramids, the shadows make it look like there's snakes crawling up and down them.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so there's some neat stuff there. I've always wanted to go see it, but
bucket list now. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. In any case, there's 5 adventures here. They're all strongly Mayan themed. One of them is set in Chichen Itza, and they're all set in the 1920s, and they all have a nice set of handouts and maps. If you're interested in adding a Mayan theme, or you want a reason for your player characters to pop on down to Central America, cool book to grab. Not a whole lot of material for players, though, so this is going to be pretty GM-focused. Just going to briefly touch on each of those 5 adventures. The first one is called Egg Out of Time. The player characters are accompanying an archaeological expedition, and they visit the Mayan ruins at Chichen Itza, conveniently enough.
Oh, nice.
And also to Uxmal and Kaba, which are 2 other ruins not too far away from there. The adventure is built around an egg that happens to actually be an immature flying polyp. And there was a deity that eliminated it at some point in the past, which turns out to have been a time traveler who only had the ability to travel back in time, and kind of locked this polyp up while the archaeologists uncovered it. And maybe the player characters will find the remains of that time-traveling god and can use his artifacts to shut down the polyp. Or not, and then a flying polyp gets loose and things get real bad.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. The next adventure is called Pyramid Scheme, and it is not just a Ponzi scheme. It is, in fact, about pyramids, but it is happening, conveniently enough, in the wake of the stock market crash. So because the player characters can't find a job in New York City because the stock market just crashed, they're hired to conduct some industrial espionage down in the Yucatan. So there's a corporation there that's run by some people who were absolutely affluent before the crash, and decided that the way to recover their fortune was by delving deeply into the occult. Because, when all else fails, summon a, extra-dimensional entity to get things to go the way you want, right?
What better way to cope?
So this company is running a facility down in the Yucatan, and somewhere along the lines, the folks behind it managed to piss off Nyarlathotep.
Oh.
So they get down there, and they're traveling from New York City to the Yucatan. Along the way, they manage to pop into a little bookshop that happens to be run by Nyarlathotep. who gives them the books they need to solve the case. And then they essentially need to use the tools that he gives them to stop the folks running this company, who are, basically down on the luck heirs, from summoning a god that will cause massive destruction. You'll notice a theme here. Pretty much all of these adventures are very much in keeping with Call of Cthulhu concepts, which is if the characters screw up, the world ends.
No big deal.
Yeah. Adventure number 3, Space Between Time. There's this cultural exchange going on between Miskatonic University and the National University of Cuba, which has a name in Spanish that I can't pronounce. And so the player characters start off at Miskatonic up in Arkham. They travel to Havana, and from Havana to Cozumel. And while they're in Cozumel, they encounter some ruins where there were some professors that got lost a while back and who have become trapped in space and in the gap between space and time. The characters need to go in there, and while they're in there, they need to decrypt some Mayan glyphs. This actually happens in a few of the adventures. There's some really cool imagery on the handouts of these Mayan glyphs that the characters need to decode, and there's a key in the appendices of the book that covers that too. Now, I'm not going to say these are perfect archaeologically preserved translations. I think they're a lot more functional than that, but end of the day, for a game, they're functional. A lot to be said for that. Next adventure is called the 13th Bachtun, where the characters need to research a lost Miskatonic University expedition to Mayan ruins near Veracruz. And that just happens to turn out to have been a ancient cryogenic serpent people preservation. Yeah, so we're talking about the civilization that existed tens upon tens of thousands of years in the ancient past. And they're just waiting for the perfect time to come out. And nice callback. The time that they're supposed to come out is 2012 when the calendar runs out. Because the serpent people are the ones who set up that calendar, you see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But some archaeologists woke up the guy that was supposed to be watching for things to work right. And so now he wants to wake up everybody else.
Great.
Player characters, of course, need to stop that from happening, or else, where's this going?
The end of the world.
Exactly. Yeah. Last adventure is the Doorway of the Gods, a Miskatonic University expedition to the Mayan ruins at Copan in Honduras. There's a gateway here to the realm of dimensional shamblers, and they need to stop the shamblers from figuring out how to open up a gateway into the middle of New York City. This might not be the end of the world because it is New York City, so, people might not notice. Just other travelers.
Oh, just
right?
normal day in NYC.
Yeah, you see all kinds of things in the streets there. In any case, 5 adventures. All of them look like a pretty good time. You could run them as a campaign. I think you'd probably be better suited just to pick this up and run them as one-shots or themed one-shots, or maybe drop 1 or 2 of them into another campaign to give your characters, just an excuse to get out of New England for a change. There is an appendix in the back that covers Mayan translations and does have a period-appropriate regional map. It's 170 pages. It's a hardcover. It is full color. It's from New Comet Games, and it's $40. We got a copy here on the shelf at Immortals. It's a well-themed book. We've got nice little Mayan glyphs on all the pages here, and like I said, that basically decrypting code in the back for that. If you're interested in Mayan themes for your Call of Cthulhu, definitely stop up and check this out. Some really fun adventures in here.
Very well said, John. Check it out for you guys yourselves. Check it out below. We'll see you guys next time.
Till next time, folks. Good gaming.